Speaking of demonizing people falsely, I want to welcome to the program right now the CEO of GoDaddy.com, Bob Parsons. Bob, good evening, sir.
Hey, Kim, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing great, my man. I couldn't be better.
Yeah? Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on the program tonight. This is such a bizarre story to me. But walk me through this. You went to Zimbabwe recently, right?
Yeah, what I do, Cam, is I go to Zimbabwe. I've done it. This is the second year. I go there and volunteer 2 weeks of my time to hunt problem elephant. What I do is the people there, they're very impoverished. They have absolutely nothing. Give you an idea how little they have. I drink bottled water, so I don't get Montezuma's revenge.
Okay.
And one of the things they charge you the most is those empty water bottles with a cap on it. I mean, they have nothing. So they're all subsistence farmers. They grow corn, they grow sorghum, and the elephant population there is significant. It's certainly abundant. It's not endangered in any way. And one of the problems they have is these elephant coming into the fields and destroying their crops before they can harvest them. They beat drums, they light fires, they crack whips, but the elephants ignore them. So it takes guys like me to go into the fields at night, shoot one of them, and the people then, number one, the rest of the elephants leave the field. They don't come back. The rest of the crops are saved. And the people then butcher the elephant, and they get protein that they usually don't get at all. So I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah. All right. Now, Bob. So you went to Zimbabwe.
Right.
You wrote about this. You posted a video on your website.
I did.
And that's when the animal rights activists lost their mind.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, a group called Change.org got a hold of it. And, I've done this for 3 years in a row, and none of this has happened. So this kind of, just happened out of the blue. And so Change.org got a hold of it, and they started sending me emails and stuff saying that rather than using than shooting these elephants, I should use a beehive on a pole or a chili-infused string, that sort of thing, stuff that's just ridiculous. And then PETA got involved. And once PETA got involved, they sent me a letter, and they said that they've now awarded me their award as being the scummiest CEO of the year. They said they're going to send me a certificate. If they do send a certificate, I guarantee I'm going to frame it, put it in my office. I'm very proud of that. They also said in their letter that I was, they questioned my manhood. They said the reason I do this and anybody hunts is because to compensate for insecurities about being a man, which is ridiculous, but that's pretty much the best that they could do,
Yeah.
And so anyhow, they got everybody stirred up. They've got all their followers stirred up. They're all threatened and, to take their business away from GoDaddy. We do domain names and websites, but the problem is most of those people they're not our customers.
Yeah. Well, look, a couple of things here. And I apologize, Bob, but this story just infuriates me, and how the animal rights activists are playing this really bothers me, because PETA's upset with you for killing an elephant, right?
Correct.
Last year, Bob, do you know how many dogs and cats PETA killed?
How many?
2,200. They killed 93.8% of the animals that were brought into their shelter in Virginia Beach. They adopted 44, they transferred 63, and they killed 2,200.
Well, and I bet the animals they killed, nobody ate them, huh?
No, I don't think so. And I don't think the cats and dogs that they put down were, crushing anybody's food supply for the next few months. Over the past, since 1998, PETA has killed over 25,000 animals. 85.9% of the animals that go into their shelter leave without a pulse. For them to attack you because you killed an elephant strikes me as the height of hypocrisy. And to ignore, again, the reality on the ground in Africa. As you point out, Bob, these folks, if their crops are destroyed, they don't eat.
Right.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but we got some pictures of you actually in Africa that I want to put up so that folks can see. This is you with some of the children there in the village. And as folks can see, they're not wearing Abercrombie and Fitch. They're not wearing Gap. They're not wearing Gymborees. These children are dressed in whatever clothes they can get a hold of, in essence, right, Bob?
Many of them are wearing you couldn't even call it clothes. You would have to say threads.
We've got another picture here. One of the things that you did while you were down there, as I understand it, you handed out hats for people.
Hats and shirts.
Okay. We're looking at a picture now. The third individual in line, you can't see his face. He's wearing a T-shirt that, as you say, more closely resembles rags. I mean, it's just hanging off of him, the shoulders torn. And you're lucky, I guess, if you live in a village like this, Bob, to have a shirt like that to put over your skin.
A number of them had nothing. Literally nothing. And, and see, the crazy part about that, if these people lose their crops, they're subsistence farmers, there's no welfare, there's no food stamps. I mean, there's nobody that comes to their rescue. You know what arrives at their door? Starvation.
Yeah.
They starve to death.
And so it really ticks me off, Bob. It really ticks me off when somebody who hasn't lifted a finger to help these folks in Africa chides you, takes you to task, says, well, if you really wanted to help, you would have built a well or something like that. I saw that was one of the comments I saw on your page earlier tonight. Because, Bob, it's really easy to criticize people for doing something that they wouldn't do. But when they're not doing a damn thing at all, what gives them the right to complain about how you're helping these people?
Yeah, it is amazing. All they've done is they volunteered very ridiculous suggestions. One is that I should build fences around these fields, which, I can't imagine how I'd do that. The elephants would crash them down anyhow, and the only way they'd be effective is if you could electrify them, and there's no electricity. And again, as we know PETA to be, they're not exactly stepping up with their checkbook.
No, absolutely not. But the anti-hunters, the anti-gunners, the animal rights activists, clearly are never going to mention or bring up the benefits that hunting provide. And so ultimately it's up to us. Bob, I was talking earlier in the week with Ted Nugent, who recently did a feral hog hunt in Texas from a helicopter. Mm-hmm. Killed 150 feral hogs. Now, I don't know specifically that PETA has found out about this. If they had, I'm sure they would be holding other protests against Mr. Nugent. But every one of those hogs, save for the ones that Ted took for his own family's food, every one of those hogs went to Hogs for the Hungry. And people who otherwise would not have gotten to eat pork that night, would not have gotten to eat protein that night, got to have some. And we never hear about these things, Bob, because the animal rights activists don't want to talk about it. Non-hunters don't know about it. And I don't know, I guess it's up to people like us to start spreading the word about the practical, real-world benefits that hunters provide to others who are less fortunate.
Well, and you're right. And if we don't do that, no one's going to know. In their attack against me, all PETA mentions is he killed an elephant, had his photo taken next to it, and he's smiling, right? Well, the reason I was smiling is because we hunted that elephant in the pitch dark, right? We had no night vision stuff.
Yeah.
We moved through the sorghum field in the pitch dark. Took us an hour to get in position. We did it just by hearing. I couldn't even see the guy next to me. The only way I knew where he was is because his watch glowed. And as we started moving towards these elephants, they heard us, and as they do at night, they attacked us. And then we turned our flashlights on. We picked the largest bull. We shot only that bull. We took the bull. The rest fled the field for good. And I was standing there. I'll tell you what, I was smiling because I was happy. Nobody was hurt. We took the right animal. The crops were protected, and those people were going to eat. So it was win, 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 win. And to me, it was the way I would have smiled if I passed the fifth grade. I didn't pass the fifth grade. But had I passed the fifth grade, I would have smiled that way.
Well, Bob, I got to tell you, I know that there are some short-sighted people. There are others who will refuse to admit to the positive good that hunters can do. And there are a lot of folks who, again, I think are just absolutely ignorant of this full story. But I hope that you get the word out. I expect PETA to do PETA-like things. But again, for an organization that has put down 2,200 dogs and cats to complain about you killing an elephant, I just find that to be hypocritical. I find it to be outrageous, and I don't think they have a leg to stand on.
That's very Peter-like. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm hearing only now from people that are incited on Twitter, people that are incited, and my Twitter handle's at Dr. Bob Parsons, Dr. Bob Parsons. I'll tell you what, if we could have some listeners post some messages of support, that would certainly mean a lot, Cam.
All right, twitter.com/Dr. Bob Parsons.
No, at
Dr. Bob Parsons.
Dr. Bob Parsons, like Dr. Bob Parsons.
All right. Well, listen, Bob, I'm so glad you could come on the program tonight. I'd love to talk to you about this in the future, and keep us up to date with what's going on, will you?
All right, I'll do my best, and I'll tell you what, you keep hanging in there. Last time I talked with you was at the Safari Convention 3 years ago.
That's right. That's right. Well, hopefully, I'll get to see you at some point. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it out to Pittsburgh for the NRA annual meeting, but if not, I hope I do get to see you at some point soon.
Well, during the NRA meeting, I'm going to be in Haiti. I do a lot to support the people there and the clinics there and so forth, and I'm going to be touring the island, seeing what else we can do. So if it wasn't for that, I would be there. So you keep up the good work, Cam.
Well, you too, Bob. Thank you so much for coming on the program tonight.
All right, bye now.
Bob Parsons, the CEO of GoDaddy.com, joining us here on NRAnews.com and SiriusXM Patriot.